Hey kids, you know I always try to turn you on to learning about science, nature, and wildlife. So again, I am reading about science. Today it is science related to global warming. The article I picked out today is titled, "There is not a cloud in the sky, but your house could still be underwater," written by Rebecca Hersher. It is from NPR again. I think I've read 3 articles in a row now from NPR, which is cool. Briefly, this article is about how it doesn't really take too much to flood the coastal cities in America anymore. It used to perhaps take a big storm or a hurricane to flood the coastal cities. Now all it takes is high tide. 现在只要有一个简单的涨潮，美国越来越多的海岸城市就有水灾了。猜猜看是什么原因？当然是因为全球暖化导致了地球南北极的冰山加速融化，造成了海岸线的上升，所以呢，一涨潮，水位一高就淹水了。这些文章部分的 vocabulary 对小朋友比较有帮助，我尽量列了一些。Okay, here we go. Coastal neighborhoods around the U.S. are seeing a steady increase in high tide flooding as sea level rise accelerates and sends seawater into homes, sewers, and streets. The problem is expected to get worse in the coming years, federal scientists warn. Sewers, 那个污水道哈，地下污水道。Accelerates， 所以说 sea level rise accelerates， 当水平面的上升加速的时候，这个海水就开始倒灌了，就开始跑到这个海岸，就开始淹水了。In 2021, 14 coastal locations broke or tied records for the number of so-called sunny day floods, when water infiltrated neighborhoods even though there was no storm, according to the annual high tide flooding report from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. 这个好像是美国的海洋还有气象那个 administration 什么局海洋和气象局 That includes Galveston and Corpus Christi, Texas. 这两个是城市的名字哈，我好像去过，两个城好像都去过。Which each set records of more than 20 days of high tide flooding in 2021. Residents of Pensacola, Florida. 这个也是很有名的一个美国的海边的城市，在佛罗里达州。And Charleston, South Carolina, each experienced 14 days of high tide flooding in 2021. That's a huge increase over just 2 decades ago. All 4 cities saw 2 days of tidal flooding or less in the year 2000. 2000年的时候只有2天，然后到目前为止2021已经20天了，然后这个 Charleston 已经14天了。The cause of the flooding is clear. Human-driven climate change. People are burning fossil fuels that release enormous quantities of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. That's causing the Earth to heat up rapidly, which melts ice and causes the water in the oceans to expand, both of which drive sea level rise. Sea levels are going up quicker than anticipated, and the number of flood days are following suit. 跟着走 follow suit 随着来 says William Sweet, an oceanographer at NOAA's National Ocean Service. There's a lot of heat and there's a lot of warm water. In some areas, the land is also sinking. 不只是海洋上升 那个地层也在下降，也在下沉。That includes the Chesapeake Bay region, where the land is naturally subsiding. Subside 就是后退、下跌，后退了。And parts of the Gulf Coast, where fossil fuel and drinking water extraction are hastening land loss. When the land sinks while the water rises, flooding is even more severe. 更糟糕 more severe. Extract 就是抽水，就是 extract 就是抽取，就是把它拿走。Hasten 就是加速。所以说我们一直抽地下水，对不对？还有把原油打上来，地层就下陷，地层下陷，海洋上升，海面上升，那当然要淹水了。Scientists expect high tide flooding will continue to accelerate in the coming years. Long-term projections, 长期的预测 ，project 就是预测。当然了，你如果变成名词 ，project 就是一个项目，一个专案。Long-term projections for the U.S. suggest that the average number of days with high tide floods could double by the end of the decade. Beginning in the mid-2030s, 他们现在已经是预测10年以后了。A change in 十几年以后了。A change in the lunar cycle will amplify climate-driven tidal flooding. Lunar 月亮的周期。10几年之后呢，月亮周期的改变更会加大因为气候而造成的潮汐淹水。我可以这样子翻。A recent study by NASA scientists warned, the moon's orbit has a natural wobble. Wobble 就是它会这样子，它不是一个完美的圆形的轨道。Moon's orbit 轨道。And when the moon is slightly closer to the Earth, tides are a little higher. Local governments in coastal areas are increasingly reliant, 越来越依赖 on official predictions about tidal flooding. Floods can affect emergency services and schools, and local planning departments must decide where to build new buildings in light of increased flood risk. NOAA's ocean scientists continuously monitor tides around the U.S. and release seasonal predictions for each U.S. region. Those predictions include specific dates that residents in each region of the country can expect to see high tide flooding, such as water running in the streets or bubbling up through storm drains. 就是从下水道就已经开始冒上来了 ，bubbling up， 对不对？冒泡泡的冲上来了 ，running in the streets 就根本就是马路上的淹水了。所以这个就是一个短短的一个蛮有效率的一个有关于全球暖化造成潮汐淹水的一个小文章。OK， until next time， 好好做功课，拜拜。